Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is the first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, this is my first video of my new section of the channel, and it's reviews of horror movies that are already out. You can see from the title and my shirt. My first review is going to be of the classic and my favorite horror movie ever, Friday the 13th of 1980. Now, why? Basically, Friday the 13th is the first horror movie I ever saw when I was 5 because it's my mom's favorite. And ever since I became a horror fan, like my reason to become a horror fan was watching Friday the 13th when I was 5. So it has a lot of meaning to me. So I decided to start this with this one. Now, as always, all my reviews are with spoilers. At this time, I will not be doing a spoiler-free review, so because I usually do. So here is just my spoiler review. But basically, there's no way to not have spoilers of a film that came out so many years ago. So apologies. But saying all that, let's get into the video. Friday the 13th follows a group of counselors trying to reopen a summer camp called Crystal Lake, which has a grim past, are stalked by a mysterious killer. Now, to give a brief summary, the film opens on Camp Crystal Lake on the 50s, and we have some campers that are killed. A very important detail is that the film, every single time we see the killer on his point of view. We never see the killer until the very end, and I think that this is an important part because it serves as the big surprise, because you have no idea who is the killer since there's no way to identify the physical appearance. So I think that it's brilliant. Now, after that, we jump to Friday the 13th on the present day, that in this case will be on the 1980s. And we have Annie. Annie is part of the counselors that are going to reopen Camp Crystal Lake. She is on the town. She's looking for someone to take her. She's able to, but she's warned that no, you shouldn't go there. Like, that's Camp Blood. Don't do that. Because over the years, the camp has been the target of bad luck, and every single time that someone has tried to reopen, bad things happen. So at this point, the locals are like, you shouldn't go there. She still does. This man is able to take her to a certain point, and she starts walking. She's eventually found by someone else on the road, and she gets into the car. We never see the driver, and she tells the person to Camp Crystal Lake. So instead of going to Camp Crystal Lake, the driver continues, and when Annie realized this, it's like, you should stop. Like, what the hell? She ends up jumping from the car and gets killed. So of course we know that the killer was on the car, and we never saw it, so we don't know who it is, but we have Annie, that is the first one to get killed of this new group. Then we have the introduction of the other camp counselors, the person that is in charge, and basically throughout the day what they're doing to refurbish and to clean everything and get everything set up, since they need to work very soon and there's a storm coming up. So they pass the night and they are killed one by one. This film, a fun fact before continuing, is the first film that Kevin Bacon has ever done. So he started his career as an actor on Friday the 13th. Now, moving on, he gets killed. I love his death. I think it's pretty creative. Now, when the final girl realizes that everyone else is dead, a woman appears. She presents herself as Pamela Voorhees and that she is friend of the owners of the camp. Then she proceeds to explain to the girl a story of what happened so many years ago on the camp. That a 10-year-old boy named Jason, he drowned on the lake because the camp counselors were too busy having sex, and that they weren't paying attention to him like they should. And then she proceeds to tell my favorite quote of the whole film. Jason was my son, and today is his birthday. And this is when everything connects. And this is when we realize that the killer all this time has been Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother. In revenge, because the camp counselors were, of course, too busy doing their business instead of taking care of her son. And he died, and as a revenge, she kills camp counselors and every single person who tries to reopen the camp. She even messes the water at some point instead of killing someone. And they have this whole fight sequence, but eventually ends with Pamela Voorhees' head cut off. And the film ends with the girl in the middle of the lake. Everything is so peaceful. We have the music, the setting, everything is gorgeous. And Jason jumps from the back and drags her to the lake. She wakes up in the hospital, asks to the policeman, where's the boy that was on the water? And he's like, there's no one here. And then she looks to the camera and the camera backs to the lake, and that's how it ends. Pretty simple, right? Now, the film, on the things that I really like that it's one of the first slashers ever, and also one of the first slashers on the 80s. So that's a classic already. Brings one of the most iconic killers, that is Jason Voorhees, although, and this is one of my favorite parts, is the fact that Jason Voorhees is not the actual killer. This is a mistake that many people made, including Casey Becker on Scream. And it's who is the killer of Friday the 13th. It's Pamela, not Jason. Jason is not the killer until the second film, because this film wasn't supposed to have a sequel. Friday the 13th Part 2 was made against the wishes of the director, and it still was a success, if you ask me, but definitely it has some inconsistencies on the story. Now, I really like the practical effects, although we are on the 80s. I think that they were made pretty good, although we can see some of the mistakes. But that's something that I pass because I'm not gonna judge them, but there's a Netflix documentary that is called The Movies That Made Us. We have one of the episodes is about Friday the 13th. You can search that. It's pretty cool because it gives you so many insights of the film and the story and everything. And there's also a documentary of Camp Crystal Lake. It's 6 hours, like it's divided in chapters, but in total will be 6 hours. But it's great. It gives a lot of information and a lot of interviews. Even have some interviews with Betsy Palmer, who is the actress that play Pamela Voorhees. And I think that is great hearing her and every single person that was involved on the films. Now, another thing that I really like is the score. I think that is creepy as hell because everything. Like for me, the score it's brilliant. And also it's pretty easy to recognize. Like it's so iconic. You don't need to have ever watched the film to know which one is the score of Friday the 13th. Now, the only thing that I would criticize, like I said, are the inconsistencies. As to Pamela Voorhees' character, you mean to tell me that this woman lost her son? You mean to tell me that no one remembered the fact that she worked there? Like, the reason why Jason was on camp was because she was working there. And you're going to tell me that no one is going to remember that? And what happened with her? And that she could be connected to the things that are happening in camp? Like, that would be... like for me just to say something because and being like real in this, because if it were for me I will be telling you that this is the best horror movie ever and that is perfect, but it's not. We need to be honest here. But besides the point, I think that generally speaking, I think that is a pretty good. It may be a little bit boring for some people. I have heard many people say that they prefer the remake, the reboot/remake over the original, and for me that's a sin. No, not really. It's that I love the original so much and I have a love-hate relationship with the new version, but still I am open. Like I'm still going to watch even the prequel series that is supposed to be coming this year to Peacock. But generally speaking, this film may be a little bit boring also because it's not Jason, it's Pamela, so that will be the only detail. But in my opinion, for me, like I said, I will say that this film is perfect, but of course it's not. So being honest, I think that the film, being honest, is an 8 out of 10 and a 3.4. No, it's a 4. Not a 3.5, it's a 4 out of 5. No, 3.5 wouldn't feel good for me. So that will be my score for my favorite horror film, because I am being honest. I am being biased by the fact that it's my favorite horror film. So appreciate that. I'm making my effort. So I think that there you got my first opinion about classic. Let me know down below what you thought about this film the first time when you watched it. What age, like what happened, like let me know. Let me know also down below which horror films that are already out you would like me to review, because of course I have a list, but I will also appreciate you guys telling me which films you would like me to review, because of course at the end of the day I am making my content to you, because you're the one that is watching. I am not watching myself, you're watching me. So but I think that this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video.
Bye. Surreal. That much I know.